Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Erica Schmarka Reality Recaps. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel and go ahead and hit the notification bell to get notified about all new videos I'll be posting. Today we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Season 6, Episode 10. So if you haven't noticed by now, every single episode of 90 Day Fiancé always has like a running theme that'll happen between all of the different storylines that kind of ties them together oddly, but only if you're really paying attention. So this week, I think that the theme was secret surgeries that I didn't tell my husband about, because we had that with both Angela and with Natalie. Let's get started. So Tiffany is in South Africa now with the kids, and they've been reunited with Ronald, my boy, and they're in the house. Things seem to be off to kind of a bumpy start. She seems to be like looking at everything he does. Like she has a little Ronald report card that she's putting checks and minuses in different columns. Check, he picked her up from the airport. That was great. Check, he had everything in the house that, made it look like a house. Minus probably for the bunker, because that's a little creepy. And minus for the ugly curtains. Other than that, they're off to a decent start. However, Ronald was also, he didn't really think things through when he had a wet floor in the blue bunker and he put cardboard down, making it get all stuck together. And he and Daniel were sitting there scraping at it, trying to remove these pieces of stuck cardboard, which actually would make a great bunker activity. I don't know why he's wasting it now while they're still free. Once he locks them up, that would be a great, team building exercise for the whole family to participate in while they're doing time in the bunker. Anyway, so Tiffany's also, another complaint she's having now is that there's no food in the house. Ronald blew all of his money on the Blue Room, and now she has to go to the grocery store because he has 6 eggs and a beer in the fridge. So they all headed out to the grocery store. Ronald picked up all kind of weird things, like some pink looking substance called polony. And it was like a pinky bologna. He picked up lots of chicken, odd parts of chickens. He picked up all different things that clearly they weren't that interested in eating, brought it home, and began to frantically unpack the kitchen. Tiffany got all pouty and moody, and she was like, I don't want to watch the kids. I'm so annoying. I don't want to do anything. Granted, she had just been on a plane all the way to South Africa with a toddler. That is like a word to you, Tiffany. I couldn't have personally done that, so she must have been exhausted. But all of a sudden, she just started pouting like a little kid. And demanding that Ronald just stop what he's doing right now, putting away all this polony, and watch baby Carly. I don't know why Carly wasn't allowed to just walk freely about the apartment / bunker. Nonetheless, so Ronald couldn't seem to really multitask putting away groceries and watching a toddler at the same time. He tried by giving her a plastic bag to play with, because who doesn't love like a 1-year-old playing with a plastic bag? That always seems like a great idea. Unless, you like breathing. But anyway, she was getting all mad. She was sitting on the couch, definitely check minus in the childcare department of his report card. And she was getting very pissed off that she flew all the way there and she still felt like she had to do everything on her own. So then later on, I guess during the night, Tiffany had to get up with baby Carly the whole time while Ronald just lay there soundly sleeping. And he kind of felt like his whole, department of doing things for his family was getting this house ready. Once he did that and put away the groceries, he was just kind of like, I'm just here for decoration. So Tiffany got really pissed off. She was really upset that also Ronald wouldn't help change Carly's poopy diapers, which he claimed to not be into. I don't know who's specifically into poopy diapers, but it's just something, it kind of comes with the territory. So, he claimed that that wasn't something he should have to do because he has a wife. So Tiffany stormed out of the house. She had to warm up her cold shoulders outside with the hot South African sun. She was pissed off. She was letting off a little steam. And Ronald comes out there vaping, which is a check minus on my Ronald report card. And, he just claims to think that, he's done all he can do. And he didn't like the way that Tiffany was dangling his kids in front of him. Like if he doesn't play by her rules, she's just going to take them and run. Now, this is where the bunker comes into play. We're going to need more polony. Back in the RV, the road trip from hell, Becky and Andre are still on the side of the road where we left them last week and where I wish we would just leave them permanently. I don't even know what the fight was about. I don't even think it matters, but eventually they got back in the RV and they all drove off until they finally hit their Airbnb for the evening because they had to break up this 16-hour hate fest that they were doing all the way to Maryland. So they stopped at the Airbnb, they all slept there for the night, and then they showed the next morning Libby and Andre were fighting because I guess Libby was trying to pack or do something. Andre went to go take a leak and left baby Eleanor to her own devices, thinking there's enough people in the house to keep an eye on her. However, baby Eleanor went up the stairs. Libby caught her halfway and had this whole dramatic recounting of how she saw the baby halfway up the stairs, went to reach for her just as she was falling backwards and caught her midair, hurting her finger and getting a hangnail. Of course, this started a big fight between Libby and Andre, who were just yelling at each other. Andre was cursing left and right in front of all of the family members' children. And it was really a bonding experience for Libby and her sisters because they could all now hate Andre together. And then it was time to load back into the fun wagon as they pressed forward towards Maryland. I wonder if this was like what the Oregon Trail was like. I don't know. Maybe less dysentery, not really sure. This week was really special because we got to meet Natalie's first friend. Put it in her baby book, Natalie's first friend. So the first friend that she met in the United States, which actually is the second because remember she said that neighbor Tamara was her first friend. I think this was a slight to Tamara. Anyway, she met her online and they felt an instant connection because Juliana is from Russia and she moved to the US with her husband. So it was a similar situation to Natalie. Mike hadn't met Juliana yet, and neither had the rest of us. So I'm so excited when we showed up to her house and she opened the door wearing this like crazy person headband and like this cape like flowy outfit, like she was fresh out of Game of Thrones. I'm not sure which house she represents yet, but I'm thinking like Lady Melisandre vibe, something like that. Anyway, they go into her kitchen, which had this weird little island with some kind of like spindle Rapunzel looking device inside. Not really sure what that went to. And Natalie drops the bombshell on Juliana that she's about to have her surgery, which she had just scheduled, but she hasn't yet told Mike. Now, she hadn't told us about her surgery, other than she had said maybe at the tell-all, I think it was, that she was thinking of getting a nose job. But now she claims that when she first got to Squim, that she has a very runny nose and maybe a little lack of oxygen to her brain, which would explain a lot for the past 2 seasons. However, it's really affecting her and she needs to have a nose job. She may possibly have a deviated septum, but some of it's going to be covered by insurance and some of it isn't. So that makes me think that at least part of it is cosmetic. Anyway, so she wanted to tell Mike this information in front of Juliana because she knew that this would probably cause another huge fight, being that she hasn't really said anything about it at all to Mike. So Mike comes over. He's bringing his A game. He brought 2 bouquets of flowers, one for Juliana, one for Natalie, really wowing Juliana, or probably just persuading her not to put a spell on him since she looks like a witch. But anyway, they sat down. He tried the dinner that they had made, which was Ukrainian food and Russian food, as Natalie put on this giant flower crown, which just made her look like she was her own centerpiece. Mike, found out about the surgery, and in the weirdest way, Natalie was just like, I have a surgery, Michael, I have a surgery. And he was like, okay, all right, you mentioned that, a couple weeks ago, maybe it was going to be a thing. Don't know. Okay. And he just claimed that he wanted to take off work to be there and support her. And he seemed to handle it pretty well. Never. The next scene, we see them heading home and they're in the driveway back in Squim. And Mike is showing Natalie how to perform a little car maintenance, change her oil, change her windshield wipers and whatnot on her truck. So Natalie then brings up the whole surgery topic again. And Mike then kind of expressed more of his hurt that, she didn't let him in on this information. She claimed it was because they just gave her the surgery date and she couldn't really schedule it. She had to just take whatever dates they had available. However, you would think that most people would probably call their husband while they were leaving the office when they found out the date, or like after they got off the phone to let them know, maybe not like a week after. So I can understand where he was frustrated on that part. But of course, their fighting is never normal. He walks off, storms off, shuts the door, slams the door, gets mad. She stomps around, acts like a total weirdo. And meanwhile, where is the pet rat? I guess we'll have to wait till next week to see what happens and to see Natalie's brand new nose. Yara is still recovering from COVID at Gwen's house in the swamp, and she's sitting there waiting to talk to Jovi on video chat while he's still away at work. So she sits there making fun of Gwen's laptop, but she talks to Jovi, who drops the bomb that he's in fact not going to be home for work when he thought he would be, and he's going to be gone until the day after Christmas, missing baby Mila's first Christmas. He didn't really seem to think it's a big deal. He's probably not thinking about how many pairs of Gucci sunglasses it's going to send him back. But anyway, furthermore, they have to be out of their apartment because their lease is about to be up. And now he's not even going to be home to help her move. So Yara just took it upon herself to decide, well, I don't even care where Jovi wants to live anymore. I'm picking what I like, my own thing, because he's never home anyway. So she finds a new apartment. It's 45 minutes outside of New Orleans, so now she doesn't have to have anybody puke on her shoes anymore, which she's thrilled about. And she's now getting ready to move, but hasn't packed one box. Gwen and her mother came over to the apartment to help her move. And I don't know why they're letting Jovi's grandmother move boxes while Yara sat there with the baby. That seemed a little odd. However, Yara had some princess behavior going on, probably just for the sake of the show, let's hope. And hopefully they had a whole team of movers, and this whole thing was for the sake of the show. Anyway, it looked like they got a nice big apartment, and now that they have all these big, like, life-changing things out of the way, I don't know what else they're going to show for these two, because they're seemingly low-key. Not sure where they're going to go with this, but I'm hoping that Yara buys some passive-aggressive, sparkly rugs that she knows Jovi will hate just for the new place. Mima is still reeling from her breakup with Michael, and she headed right over to Lawyer Lou's office, we've met many times before, to discuss proceeding with a divorce, both domestic and foreign, from Michael. So she told Lawyer Lou she was ready to get divorced, and he kind of went through all of the details with her, telling her that, if you get back together, you're going to have to reapply for the whole spousal visa all over again, which was such an ordeal, and you've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of fighting, and a lot of trips to Nigeria into this relationship, so maybe you should rethink things a little bit and calm down. Angela seemed to calm down, and she did listen to what Lou had to say and said that she wanted more time to think about it. So Michael was clearly still on her mind. Back in Nigeria, Michael was reunited with the goofballs who he had been forbidden to see because Mima and the goofballs did not get along. So the goofballs were asking him all about, Angela and this breakup, and they were not really secretive about their excitement about the breakup. And meanwhile, they were kind of encouraging him to stand up and be the man. And Michael explained that, things just kind of went south when Angela had her two surgeries, one being her breast reduction surgery, which the goofballs couldn't understand because big boobs are the best. So meanwhile, they just encouraged Michael to be a man, be a Nigerian man, and not let your woman talk to you like that, like none of them have ever met Angela. Michael claims that he still loves Angela. He would really like to work things out, but that is if Angela is willing to change her ways. Kind of a fat chance there. At that point, they should probably just proceed with the divorce, but I guess only time will tell. Brandon and Julia had some exciting moments this week as they got all decked out to go see their new potential apartment in the big city of Richmond. Julia dressed her little Brandon doll up in a black turtleneck and some big aviator sunglasses, and she was gushing over how handsome he looked as they drove over to look at this apartment. So the apartment was beautiful. It was like 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, everything they could have wanted, but it was $1,800 a month. And that's just something that Brandon can't afford on his bug squishing salary at the moment. Julia's not even working. So Brandon had to squish her dreams because he thought the apartment was too expensive, and also because they just didn't need that much space at the moment. In the meantime, they had to head back to the farm. Julia was so upset. But later on, she realized it's very important for her to get a job so she can contribute and they can actually find their own place. And she went on an interview at Crunch Fitness as a dance instructor. Obviously, we all know Julia's history with dancing, and it just seemed natural that she would be a dance instructor at a fitness center. So she went into this interview, which was very scripted. And you know what? It was funny. I'll give them that. It was funny. So they went in, and the middle-aged male manager wanted to have like a little demonstration of Julia's dancing skills. So she slipped from her sneakers into a pair of high heels where she did all kind of crazy moves that looked like she was more trying out to be a dancer at the Bada Bing than Crunch Fitness. However, he did seem impressed, and he even wanted her to demonstrate how she would teach that to somebody else by teaching him how to dance and live out his Russian go-go dancer fantasy. After all that was said and done, we were not really sure if Julia got the job. They didn't really make that clear, but it was fun television nonetheless. Next week, it looks like they may be finding a place of their own, which is going to throw Betty and Ron for a loop, and I can't wait to see it all happen. We're going to need extra time in the hot tub therapy. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Erica Schmerka Reality Recaps. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel, and go ahead and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified about all new videos that I'll be posting. Bye, guys!